On June the 20th, I interviewed ex-South London gang member Sephton Henry. He became a gangster when he was just a child, after he was first groomed by gang members at the age of 8. By the age of 23, he had been in prison 7 times. Despite this, he eventually left his gangster lifestyle behind, and has not been engaged in any criminal activity for 6 years now. The former gang member has claimed he was inspired to turn his life around after converting to Christianity and receiving financial as well as emotional support from mentors. Now aged 29, he works as a gangs consultant for Gangsline, a non-profit organisation established in 2007 which offers exit strategies to young gang members and educates government staff about gang life. Here is the interview. Sephton, you have spoken before about how you were groomed by gang members at the age of 8. What did grooming in that context entail?
Yeah, so at first I didn't even know what grooming meant until I was about 26 or something like that. But at that time, what they was doing is they was playing with me, praising me, lifting me up, giving me sweets, bringing me into their lifestyle without me even knowing it. Maslow's hierarchy of needs says when your basic needs are not met, you're likely to go elsewhere to find them. So I was finding my basic needs in these older boys. These older boys were showing me affection, they were showing me time, and that's how it started. And then after them building some sort of relationship with me, they then would say, hey, here, take this down the road and give it to this guy. Now I'm thinking that I'm doing good, because when they used to say, oh, I'll have a fight with my friend or whatever, I'd be playing with him, messing about, and when I win, they'd praise me for it. So I thought, yeah, all right, cool. This is something good to do. So I went and done it, and I'd come back and they'd give me sweets. Sometimes they'd give me a $5, different, it would kind of vary, until one day I see the guy ODing on the floor, and that's when I knew, actually, this is not good.
Was your decision to be a gang member at all motivated by a desire not to be perceived by others as vulnerable?
At times, yeah. Like, a lot of the time when you're young and you're around people that are stabbing each other or beating each other up, like, you're not gonna feel safe, you know? So I felt very vulnerable at times. I was very isolated because I didn't feel that I had anybody that could help me, and it played a massive part of me wanting to pick up a weapon and protect myself and all the rest of it.
Was there anything else about being a gang member that appealed to you?
Yeah, of course, like the respect, the money, these things, they definitely draw you in, you know? I saw the way that the older boys, they basically run the manor, and everyone showed them some sort of respect. But clearly, as my age got older and as time went on, I realized that this respect was not even real, it was fake. It was actually fear that people were holding on to.
What were people fearful of, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so they're fearful of, like, who I am, what I can do, where I've been, what I've done already. And they were showing me fake love. It's not real love. Like, I wanted the real deal, but that's not what I got. I just got this sense of, oh yeah, he's a bad boy, so we need to make sure that we look after him, or we treat him in a certain way.
Why do you think you mistook that for love?
Because I don't feel that I received love. Like, I didn't receive no love. We aspire to build a business before loving our children. And it's not that we don't love our children, but we want to aspire to make something of our lives. But little did we know, we are actually neglecting our kids. So in this country and in this place, a lot of us kids, we don't feel loved. We didn't feel loved, you know?
So what were the most horrific experiences you had as a gang member?
Yeah, well, I've seen so much things. Like, I mean, I've had fights with pits. You'd come to me with your dog and you'll think that, oh, I'm gonna run away, or you're gonna get your dog to eat me, and I will fight your dog. Like, I literally remember one time some guy tried to attack me. I smacked him up, and then he wanted to go and get his dog. So he got his dog, but he's thinking that I'm not gonna come out the house. So what I did is I went round the back, I had a bottle in my hand and a pole. I jumped over the fence and I charged at his dog. And his dog's charging at me, wanting to bite me and that. So I licked it with a pole, and then it's tried to come at me again, and I bottled it. And then it's still coming at me, and then I'm running down the road and I'm jumping over a fence, and I'm still running, it's jumped over the fence for me, and I've got to twing out. I was just desensitized to violence. Like, violence was how I lived my life. I've seen so many people get bottled, like, you know, like, they're not, like, I've seen their noses, like, literally dismantled. I've seen, like, gashes coming out of their face and that. I've seen, like, a guy get a samurai sword down his back. I've seen a woman's vagina being cut from side to side.
How did that come about? How did you end up seeing that?
So, where was I? I was in a house. I was really young as well, and I was dragged out of another house into this house. And the guy was saying that to the mother of his child, that basically he was shouting at her, and he was hitting her at the same time, and he was kicking her while she was on the ground. And then he said to her, if I can't have you, no one can. So the whole situation was that she must have slept with someone, or she didn't want to be with him. I don't know the ins and outs. I was really young at the time, and he was beating her up for it. And then he said he's gonna, well, he didn't say, but he basically suggested, like, this is what I'm going to, he basically did it, if that's what I mean. Like, he cut her, and he was saying, no one can have you in it.
You talked about being desensitized to violence. Was there part of you that enjoyed partaking in it while you were a gang member?
Yeah. I loved violence.
Why was that?
I loved it. Violence was an outlet. Violence was an outlet. It was me self-harming. That was my self-harming thing, or a release. Like, I used to allow people to hit me in the face, and that. I loved it. I loved getting punched. I loved fighting. I got run over. I loved it. I just, obviously you're not gonna love getting run over there and then, but when you survive it, you're like, yeah, next one. So well, what's next, you know?
It was kind of an adrenaline rush. That was what you liked about it?
Pretty much. It was more than an adrenaline rush, because the adrenaline rush is like going on a ride. This was not a ride. This was real life, you know? Like, so it was more of like a self-harm, and it was a power thing as well. I got power from it. Like, I don't know if you've heard of that film, Highlander. Highlander, you're not old school, no? All right, cool. Well, Highlander, this guy had a sword, and he would chop your head off. And when he chopped your head off, he'd get the power from you. And that's what it was like for me. I used to get power from hurting people.
You left the Woolwich Boys gang roughly 6 years ago now. Have you since ever felt unsafe due to gangsters who think you betrayed them by taking that decision?
No, not really. Like, no one can't really tell me anything, because I'm still a nutter. I've changed, but I'm still mad. Like, I'm still trying to, you know, suppress what once happened to me. It's like, I spoke about it before, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, emotional trauma. Like, I'm not functioning right, you know? Like, there's different types of people. There's gangsters, there's roadman, there's thugs, there's badman, and I was them at one point of my life, but then I became a madman. And no one wants to play with a madman because a madman don't care, and I didn't care. Like, I've been jailed 7 times. Like, jail's not gonna stop me. No one's gonna stop me. If I want to go, I'm going. That's it.
You talked about there being different types of gangsters. Could you explain what the differences are between different types of gangsters?
Yeah, so obviously there's a thug. Now, a thug is someone that, you know, he just rolls around, trousers low, vandalizes and stuff like that. Then you got a gangster. Now, a gangster is more up there. He's top. He's the gangster, you know, like he's the one that controls all the drugs and that. He's the top guy, you know. Gangsters are normally older. Yeah. Then you've got the bad man. Now, the bad man, he's been about his thing, like he's done his job, you know, like he's authentic, he's stabbed man up, he's had fights, he's warred with different gangs, like he's been jail, he's a bad man, he's done his thing. Then you have the roadman, and the roadman is like, he's probably got a knife on him, like he's a roadman, innit? He's got a knife on him, he's probably selling drugs or something, like he's just a roadman, you know what I'm saying? But then you have me, and then you have a madman. Now, madman don't care. Like, when I was fighting, I would fight a whole gang. A whole gang. Like, this ain't a game for me. Like, for me, I don't care, because I want to die. Like, I got the scars. I don't want to be here. So if you're messing with me, you're messing with the wrong guy. A guy that's got nothing to lose, you don't want to play with that guy.
You mentioned there that you wanted to die. Was that constant while you were a gang member?
Yeah, of course. Every day, like, it's just the bits that made me continue, I think, was the fighting. I loved it. That's probably what helped me to continue. Remember, like, man's been jailed 7 times. I've been in Feltham, I've been in Rochester, I've been in ISIS, I've been in Brixton, I've been in Hunter Combe, I've been in Aylesbury Butts Life as Prison, I've been in solitary confinement, I've been in basic. I was a basic rider, like that was my name. Like that's how I lived my life. I was an animal, mate. They gave me a number, TF6622.
Who gave you that number?
Govs, officers in jail. Yeah, the govs would be like, give me a number, whatever. The number, I don't know why they gave you a number. They just wanted to dehumanize you, like treat you like an animal, put you in a cage and take away your name, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. You're TF6622, ain't you? Like, put your stamp on you. You're just a number. You're not anything, you know?
If prison is to function effectively, it should reform criminals, but did you not think it performed that function? No,
never. No rehabilitation. I came out and I'm still living like I'm in prison to this day. I was saying it the other day, like, I'm living like prison in my own home. I still function like I'm in prison. Man's still buying packs of noodles and that. Like, when I'm on my phone, I'm a bit worried. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be on my phone this long. And then I clock, wait there a minute, you're not in jail. Or I'll be sitting in my room, I wake up and I'll just sit there for hours. I'm like, I have to talk to myself. I say, Sephton, you know you can move, innit? Like, you're allowed out. Then I'd get up and I'd come out of this depression, like, and I'd be like, wow, I'm free. So it's emotionally traumatized. I've been programmed to live a certain way. I was programmed. So the violence and stuff, I was even programmed for that, for jail, because when you're in jail, you're getting it cracking, like, it's beef. It's all the time, like, So it becomes your natural train of thought when you wake up. All right, who am I gonna fight today? Who's coming to try and chat rubbish to me today? Who do I have to hot up? So then I became a bit weird. So what I would do, yeah, no, it's serious. What I would do is, before anyone say anything, one clap, real quick. They haven't even done anything. I'll just slap them so they know their place very fast. And that's what I've become. I'd hurt people before they try and hurt me.
Are there any other aspects of your daily life that are heavily impacted by the trauma you have?
Yeah, everything. Every day, coming to see you.
How so?
What a shock. It's just anxieties and all these different things. To function properly, very difficult, very difficult. Walking down the road, to have a normal conversation with someone, to sit next to me.
So you're talking about when I sat quite close to you before?
Yes, yes.
So why was that such a big deal for you?
Because you're like really close and like it caused this defense because no one can't come close to me, innit? Like I said, I'd slapped beforehand, so I'm still struggling with like believing that you're gonna hurt me. Everyone's gonna hurt me. Everyone's coming to hurt me. Everyone's coming to trouble me. Everyone wants to do me something. So I can't have you that close. Can't be too close. I don't function the way that a normal person will function. You have conversations and be all like, I'm just looking at you like, I ain't got nothing to say. I'm closed.
What do you think needs to change at a societal level for UK gang crime to be tackled more effectively going forward?
The right people in power to do the job.
Which are?
You need specialists like myself. You need people that have lived it, that know it. And you need not just us to be empowered in that sense. You need people like myself to become CEOs and commissioners. We need to be able to see someone and say, hey, he looks like me. When I'm in the Houses of Parliament, House of Commons, when I'm going to all these different amazing places, I look around and I'm like, none of you look like me. You're talking about me, but none of you look like me. And I'm not talking about the color of your skin. Like, I'm talking about you ain't lived what I've lived. You haven't been where I've been. You don't know what I am going through. So how are you talking about my life and trying to tell me something? What's needed is people like me sitting in that position. So then when I talk to the younger generation or these people coming up or them man there or whoever it is, they're gonna be like, you know what? I feel you. You know what? I see hope. But that's what they say now to me. Say, you know what, Sephton, you bring us hope. Keep doing what you're doing. So when you talk about, do I feel unsafe and that? Nah, I can't feel unsafe. I'm the voice of the people. I'm the voice of the people. I'm the guy crying out for them. They need me. When they see what I'm doing, they're like, you know what, you're the one. You're the one lighting the way. You're the one changing the path, changing the stereotype, changing the stigma on who they think we are to what we actually are.
Just to be clear, who's saying that to you? Is it people who are still in gangs?
Oh yeah, people in gangs, people on the streets, baby mothers, people in impoverished areas, estates, white, black, Asian, Muslim, Christian, you name it, Hindu, whoever's struggling, whoever feels the struggle, innit? It's not only gang members that struggle. And not everyone's a gang member. Like, this is another thing that you gotta make sure you understand. It is called street culture. Street culture. It's not so much gang culture, it's street culture. Because lots of these young kids, they're not actually in gangs. They just speak a certain way, they look a certain way, and they act a certain way, and all of a sudden now you're saying he's a gang member. No, he's not a gang member. He's just a kid that's involved in street culture. He likes rap music and drill. Doesn't mean he's a gang member because he likes drill music. Do you like drill music? I don't know, you might. Does that mean you're a gang member? No, it doesn't. What, it's because he's black? Does that mean he's a gang member? No, because I know white boys up in Toxtiff, Liverpool. So I work for a company called Gangsline. We go up and down the country delivering training to all government staff in London. But we also go into schools up and down the country. So in Essex, we've got gangs up in there and they're white. So I just wanted to clarify that so everyone can see. But what we do know is this, there's a thing called class struggles. Class struggles has been going on for so long. It's been going on for so long, class struggles up and down this country. And if you want to see who's being affected, just look at that. Look at the class. The upper class are not doing the things the lower class are doing. Why?
I get a sense that you think that that's reflected in Parliament from what you said.
100%. Obviously it definitely is, because we know that them gang members or them youth out on the street, they don't vote. They don't vote. So they're not a part of society. So we don't really care about them because you don't vote. And that was exactly the same over 100 years ago. Peaky Blinders and that. In their time, they carried razor blades in their hats. So cutting people ain't new. And they was a gang in Britain, yeah? But at their time, they were the lower class. The lower class. If you check throughout history, you'll see all the lower class are in a situation, they're doing something wrong. It's because Maslow's hierarchy of needs says when your basic needs are not met, you're likely to go elsewhere to find them. So these young kids today are going elsewhere to find their basic needs. And it's in things that normally it ain't good. But we don't have what they have up there. We never had the opportunity to do what they can do. I always say that when he gets in trouble, it's probably for saying something wrong. But when he gets in trouble, it's probably for picking up his dad's gun out of the drawer. Can you see the difference? When this guy up in the upper class goes to pick something up, it's probably a 50-gram watch. When he goes to pick something up, it's probably his mum's drugs.
You mentioned drill music before. Is it fair to claim that drill music as a genre is playing a significant role in directly inspiring gang violence in London especially?
Let's think about that. Like, do you really think that music is the thing that caused me to do what I've done? I rest my case.
That's a suggestion that's been made before.
It's a suggestion that's been made to focus on things that don't matter, because the real culprit is hiding. Obviously it's a factor. There's so many things a factor, but that's external. It's external.
What do you mean external?
It's external. It's something that is, Sephton carries a gun, yeah? Sephton carries a gun. Let's focus on Sephton carrying a gun. But what caused Sephton to carry a gun? That's what we got to look at. What caused Sephton to carry a gun? Now, there was something that caused him. He didn't just wake up and say, I'm going to carry a gun today. There was factors that built up to Sephton now carrying a gun. And that's what I'm talking about. So this music situation cannot be the driving force. It plays its part like everything else in the world.
Okay, so in March, the UK Home Office launched a 6-week-long, £1.35 million knife-free advertising campaign which targeted 10 to 21-year-olds through social media, digital channels and posters in an attempt to reduce knife crime among young people. Was that a worthwhile thing to do?
Let me think about it. No.
But why not? I just want to get a sense of why it's not a helpful thing to do by the government.
Because they're spending so much money on something that's pointless. It's like, what's that going to do? I'm going to look at something, oh yeah, nice, see you later. Continue with my life. Continue with the badness and madness that's going on around me. What is that going to change to me and my life? That didn't put no money in my pocket, that didn't do anything for me. I've seen movies worse than that. You know what I'm trying to say? What's it going to do? It don't make sense. But it makes sense in the sense of saying, look, we're doing something. We're putting something out. More time, politicians allow injustice so politicians can be politicians.
Sephton, thank you.
Thank you.
It may be that you've just been involved in an incident and you react using a knife, but knife and gun crime does not just happen. And so for me, how to change knife and gun crime in the UK, it's all about education.